Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. The most important news and editorial of the day that is relevant for both prelims and mains examination of civil services will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 26th of October. The first important news, that is ISRO launches heaviest rocket LVM3-M2. This is again a landmark achievement in the space sector. Second, Lancet report on health and climate change. These two news are from the explained page of the Indian Express. Third, India-Britain hold talks on bilateral relations. Fourth, UNSC members to pay tribute at 2611 Memorial. And the last is an editorial, that is a renewable energy revolution rooted in agriculture. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So starting the session with the first news, that is ISRO launches heaviest rocket LVM3-M2, something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic Achievement of India in Science and Technology, Indianization of Technology and Development of New Technology. So recently, ISRO, that is Indian Space Research Organization, they have successfully launched the heaviest rocket LVM3-M2, and this was used by the second launch pad from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota. Many a times for many other competitive examination, they can directly ask you the venue and the place. So you have to remember each and every important point that is relevant with this launch. The launch is an important milestone with successful launch of LVM2 or OneWeb India One mission. We'll discuss that also. Now, what is OneWeb first launch with India? OneWeb is a global communication network that is powered by space and enable the internet connectivity for business and government. Right? For India, Bharti Enterprises is a major stakeholder in the OneWeb, and this OneWeb is a 14th launch but first collaboration between ISRO and NSIL in India. It has a dual contract, that is OneWeb plans to put further another 36 satellite in the space with NSIL in January 2023. So this is a future plan that India has already been envisaged, and this is going to be executed by January 2023. So OneWeb use a pattern of Russian's rocket but protected against the Ukraine war, and even they are looking to collaborate with more India satellites and other launch episodes that is taking place by the ISRO itself. Now talking about the satellite arrangement that took place from the OneWeb. So OneWeb satellite are arranged in the 12 orbital plane with 49 satellite in each place, right? This is how the arrangement was made. And each satellite payload function over the Ka and Ku band. Now this become very important for you to understand what is Ka and Ku band and how the bandwidth differs, right? So this particular band, that is the Ka and the Ku band, which enables the data transmissions back to the earth. So these are the two functions payload that enables for the transmissions of data. Now talking specifically about the Ku band, this has a frequencies of 12 to 18 gigahertz. And while talking about the Ka band, it has a frequency of 26.5 to 40 gigahertz. So if you talk about the higher range, definitely Ka has a higher band compared to the Ku, right? And this enables the greater bandwidth transfer. So this can be important for prelims examination in terms of the higher bandwidth comparatively between the Ka and the Ku bands. Now talking about LVM3 rockets. So this is a mission. It's the first multi-satellite commercial mission rocket that was launched. And LVM3 rocket carried out almost 6 tons of the payload into the LEO, that is low Earth orbit, and mostly that any ISRO mission has delivered till date in the space sector. LVM3 and M2 rockets are a 3-stage vehicle. बात करें इसकी stages की, 3 स्टेज है. जो पहली स्टेज है, the first stage is fired with liquid fuel with 2 strapped motor that is powered by the solid fuel. The second stage is a liquid fuel, and the third stage is a high performance cryogenic engine. So अगर आप bifurcate करें इन तीनों stages को, you'll come to know that the first stage is liquid, the second stage is again a liquid, and the third stage has a cryogenic engine, right? So this is again something important point to be noted. Now about the abroad India's biggest rocket, LVM3-M2 rocket, or earlier known as GSLV Mark III launched vehicle, but was renamed by the ISRO with the most recent launch, which carried almost 8,000 kg of payload in the low Earth orbit and 4,000 kg of satellite into the geostationary orbit, that is GTO and LEO. So the major difference you need to understand, right? This can be relevant for the prelims examination also. Do search it out and check the differences. Chandrayaan 2 was also launched with the GSLV Mark III. Now talking about the launch that took place, the first was Ariane 5. This is a Europe heaviest satellite. Total lift of mass is 780 and the payload was LEO and GTO. I'm not getting into technicality of these terms because we require only the names and even for the payload. लॉन्ग मार्च चाइनाज हेवेस्ट सैटेलाइट, आप कंट्रीज के कंसर्न पे ध्यान रखिए, बाकी आपको किसी चीज पे पेलोड्स या फिर पेलोड कैपेसिटी के बारे में जानने की जरूरत नहीं. Falcon Heavy, this is SpaceX most powerful for the commercial uses. Space launch vehicle, that is NASA Littlest, meant for deep sea explorations. Then there's LVM3, India's heaviest, that will be used for the Gaganyaan. This can be important for the prelims, which particular satellite is going to be used. Now PSLV, India's most prolific, and GSLV meant for heavier communication and satellite purposes. Operational launch of the vehicles in India. See, there are three important launch vehicles that India is operating with currently. So तीन अगर बात करें operational launch vehicle की, the first is PSLV, where there are multiple versions. The PSLV has been most commonly used and have carried out multiple times. It has took almost 53 successful missions since 1993. And only 2 flights of the PSLV has failed till date. Almost most of the success has been achieved in the PSLV launch. Now the other 2 vehicles, or you can say the operational launch vehicles, are GSLV and Mark III, that is LVM3. So GSLV की अगर बात करें, this is Mark III. GSLV rocket has been used in 14th mission, with 4 has ended in failure, most recently in August this year. And talking about the launch vehicle Mark III or LVM3, this has flown 5 times, including the Chandrayaan mission, and have never been disappointed for Indian Space Research Organization. Now LVM3 is a accumulation of more than 3 decades of efforts to indigenously develop a rocket that can carry heavier payloads or a venture much deep into the space. Now, there's a reusable launch vehicle also. This is a concept that has emerged. In addition, ISRO has been working on a reusable launched vehicle. Unlike the other rocket, RLV, that is reusable launch, would not end up in space and waste. Instead, it can be brought back from the refurbished and use it for the multiple times. So the name itself suggests this is reusable. Now other rocket details की अगर बात करें, जो LMV3 rockets है, for example, it's a lift off mass 640 ton and it can carry a low Earth orbit and about 200 kilometers from the Earth's surface, that is 8 meter ton, right? A mere 8 ton. Now the Ariane 5 rockets, which I've already discussed, can carry 780 ton and has a payload of like 20 ton for this particular low Earth orbit, and for GTO this is 10 ton. The other is Falcon Heavy rocket from the SpaceX, supposed to be the most powerful launch vehicle, weight 140 ton in the launch time and carry the payload weight of 60 ton. So this is how the entire launch took place, and this is an achievement for India that we have established a milestone achievement at this juncture. Now moving to the other news, Lancet report on health and climate change, something important for General Studies paper 3. Under the subtopic Conservation, Environmental Pollutions, Degradation and EIA. Now ahead of this United Nations Climate Conference, which is known as COP27, which is scheduled, a major report by Lancet has been published, which says and which talks about the fossil fuel and its compounding impact on health, how the fossil fuel is having a devastating effect and the repercussion on its health impact. We'll see the detail. Now the report that was published recently in 2022, and the report named as a new finding presented in the 7th global annual report of the Lancet Countdown on Health and Climate Change. And it shows that how there is increasing threat on health and survival of the people today, and how it can impact for the future generation. So the repercussion is not confined only to the current generation, but it has its future repercussion as well. So the report represents a work of 39 experts from 51 institutions, including the World Health Organization and the World Meteorological Organization, right? So these other organizations were collaborating in the part of the development process. Now, details about the report according to the fact sheet of the specific impact on India, which uses the data from the report, is not itself a part of the report climate that is affecting every pillar of the food security, right? कुछ ऐसे कारण हैं जिसकी impact खास करके अगर बात करें in terms of the emissions and the global warming, it will definitely impact the food security to the larger extent. The duration of the growth season, that is maize, has decreased by 2%. This is a decrease that was witnessed compared to 1981 and 2010 deadline, which rice and winter wheat has each decreased by 1%. So this is the impact of the climate change. And from 2012 and 21, the infants under 1 year old experimental average age of 72 million more people have a heavy heat waves per year compared to 1985-2005 for the same period, which adult over 65 experimental and 301 more person in a day. So these are some of the detail, the precise detail about the report. For you, the important part that you can use in mains examination is this data that is relevant for both for the mains examination. Now from 2002 to 2004 to 2017 and 21, heat waves that has increased by 55%. Again, an important data. You can take a note of this as well. In India, India has lost 167.2 billion potential labor due to the heat exposure, with income losses equivalent to 5.4% of the national GDP. Now from 1995, this is the data that is about the 1951 to 1960 and 2012 to 2021, the number of monthly suicide for the dengue transmission by the adjusted Egypti has rose up to 1.69%, reaching 5.6% each year, right? So this is the trend and repercussion of the impact that India is witnessing in terms of the health sector. Now, climate change and its harm on the health in children. Basically, the phases has been depicted here to understand how it has a potential impact on human health. Talking about the prenatal, poor pregnancy outcome and the low birth weight and preterm delivery, increase in the risk of low birth weight and the neonatal death. In terms of infancy, high risk of the heat-related illness and water and food-borne infection. In childhood, it has an impact on the lungs problem and even for the asthma attacks. Outdoor exposure to Lyme diseases, and in adolescence, the repercussion is in terms of the post-traumatic stress and anxiety, and even ability to think, outdoor recreation, and ability to play sports. These are the problem because of the climate change. Now, sample ways that the climate change has impacted our health. There's an extreme heat wave that is witnessed across the globe. Poor air quality is witnessed. Extreme weather event is also evident in many parts of the country, and ticks and mosquito-borne diseases is also higher compared to other years. Now, India-Britain hold talks on bilateral relations, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic Bilateral Regional Grouping and Agreement involving India and affecting India's interest. So, before I start this news, it is a milestone achievement for India as well, and a historic day that an Indian origin as a Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak is the new Prime Minister of the Britain. So this mark a new landmark achievement for India and even for a revamped India and Britain relationship, right? So Rishi Sunak becoming the first British Indian Prime Minister in the historic moment, and he is the youngest Prime Minister of Britain at the age 42. Now, in this context, both India and Britain Prime Minister has discussed several issues which does not include the FTA basically, because this was a deadline that was provided for Deepavali celebration. Before that, the deadline was there by the former Prime Minister Boris Johnson. So there were other negotiations that took place between the both side between India and Britain. There was a telephonic call which discussed for call revamping and boosting India and Britain relationship. Now there's a roadmap 2030. The roadmap 2030 was launched on May 4th, 2021 during India and UK virtual summit, which was led by the Prime Minister of both the countries. And one of the main focus area for the roadmap was FTA, that is a free trade agreement. And for this free trade agreement, October is the deadline, which we have still not achieved, October 2022. Now talking about India trade with Ukraine, किसके segment में क्या trade होती है, type of India's export to UK. So you can see the bifurcation here. Now talking about the other details, 0.3%, 0.31 is electrical equipment, 1.35 is apparel, nuclear reactors, vehicles, others, pearls and precious stone, and pharmaceutical products. Now there's a dialogue on track between India and Britain. So India and Britain over the telephonic call has discussed high-level dialogue which called for two sides to have a political development, including basically the resignation of Liz Truss. Basically she herself called for a resignation because he was not able to handle the economic situation, which has led to her successor, that is Mr. Sunak, to be the new Prime Minister of Britain. UNSC member to pay tribute at 26/11 Memorial, something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic Important International Institution Agencies, their structure and mandate. So ambassador of all the countries in the United Nations Council will attend a memorial of the victim of 26/11 attack which took place in Mumbai. And this was a serious terrorist attack which India has raised several concerns in the multilateral forum globally as well. So this ceremony will include a joint wreath laying ceremony with a separate floral tribute by the United Nations officials and representation of the country in the Security Council. Why this is important? We need to understand that India is very vocal on its parts of the terrorism that is being spread by the countries like Pakistan, specifically Pakistan, right? And Pakistan has been hiding all the terrorism, right? So for India, it is important to recognize that the global forum, UNSC recognition for this context is very important. Now, India is currently the chair of UNSC Counter-Terrorism Committee for the year 2022 and will host the diplomats of the 15th UNSC body and other members of the special meeting, which is going to be scheduled in Mumbai and New Delhi for October 28 and 29 with new and emerging technology. So the dates are already been declared, like 28 and 29. 28 the meeting will held in Mumbai, and for 29 it will be held in Delhi, right? So a special meeting on counter-terrorism and countering the use of new and emerging technology for terrorist purpose. Even you can use this in the mains examination. Specifically आप highlight कर सकते हैं किस तरह से खास करके UN यूनाइटेड नेशन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल की जो काउंटर टेररिज्म कमेटी है वो एक्टिवली इस तरह की चीज़ों पे काम कर रही है. Now current members of United Nations Security Council की अगर बात करें, अल्बानिया, ब्राज़ील, Gabon, Ghana, India, Ireland, Kenya, Mexico, Norway and UAE as the current member of the Security Council. And talking about the 5 permanent members, this include China, France, Russia, UK and the United States. The special meeting of the UNSC Counter-Terrorism Committee, the special meeting will specifically focus on 3 important significant aspects and area. The first is the emerging technology and experiencing the rapid development. Second is growing use of member state, including the security and counter-terrorism purposes and increasing threat of abuse from the terrorism purposes, namely the internet, social media, terrorism financing, unmanned aerial system. So this is how the entire process will work, and this particular session basically जो meeting होनी है वो 3 important priority areas पे focus करेंगे. Moving to the editorial of the day, that is renewable energy revolutions rooted in agriculture. This is important for General Studies Paper 3, that is under the topic conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation and EIA, and also important for General Studies Paper 2, that is government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from it, right, and its implementations. So what is the theme of this editorial? The editorial mostly focuses upon the renewable energy in agriculture. We'll be looking into the important aspect of the editorial with important subheads like background, measures taken by the government, project that is in place, assessment of energy technology and its advantages. So talking about the background, अगर बात करें बिगनिंग ऑफ रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी रिवोल्यूशन की, ये रूटेड है एग्रीकल्चर में. किस तरह से ये रूटेड है एग्रीकल्चर में? बिकॉज एग्रीकल्चर इज टेकिंग शेप इन इंडिया, राइट. अगर फर्स्ट बायो एनर्जी प्लांट की बात करें, प्राइवेट कंपनी ने संगरूर में स्टैब्लिश किया है पंजाब में रिसेंटली. So this can be a game changer for many bioenergy plant across the country. This will produce compressed biogas, which is again environmental friendly. And the major part and the major focus is that this CBG, that is the compressed biogas, will be produced from the paddy straws and thus cultivating the aerial waste into wealth. What farmer used to do? They used to burn it, which is unnecessarily impacting our environment, right? So this is the reason I at the beginning told you that the renewable energy revolution is rooted in agriculture, right? And it has become a common practice among the farmer in Punjab that they used to burn the paddy straw. Specifically, two important states, that is Punjab and Haryana, and the western Uttar Pradesh, dispose of their paddy stubble and by biomass setting on the fire, which creates a lot more problem. And the intention behind doing this for the farmer is to prepare the land for next cropping season. The stubble burning result in the cloud smoke engulf in the entire national capital region of Delhi and neighboring states with several weeks for October and December, right? So this was a problem that has emerged because of the burning of the stubbles. Now, what are the measures that the government has taken? The government of India has put in place several measures to tackle this problem and even spend a lot of money to tackle this problem, how the things can be achieved, which is sustainable and environment friendly. So the Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and the adjoining area has developed a framework and action plan for the effective prevention and the control of the stubble burning. Now there are two types of management that is taking place. First is in situ and second is ex situ. Very important for your mains examination. Even a direct question can be framed in the prelims examination. Now prelims में भी यहाँ से question expect कर सकते हैं. Now what is in situ and what is ex situ? The in situ framework plan is an in situ management incorporation of paddy, straw and stubble in the soil using heavily subsidized machinery that is supported by the crop residue management system by the Ministry of Agriculture and Farm Welfare. There is ex situ. In the ex situ, the crop residue management and efforts include the use of paddy for the biomass power projects, that is the co-firing in the thermal power plant as a feedstock for 2G ethanol plant. यहाँ पे इसकी utilizations भी हैं. Feedstock in the CBG plants and fuel in the industrial boiler waste to energy plant in packaging material. So this is how the ex situ and in situ management will take place. Now talking about the impact of the stubble burning, it has an enormous impact on human health as well and the pollution of air. It has a 1 ton of stubble burning is there. There's a 2 kg of SO2, 3 kg of particulate matter, 60 kg of CO and 1460 kg of CO2 and 199 kg of ash. Now two important states I told you that contribute apart from Uttar Pradesh. The major stubble burning is contributed by the state of Punjab and other is Haryana. You can see the data, how the contribution is there, and specific district which is contributing in Punjab is Sangrur, Bhatinda and Firozpur. For Haryana, the other states include Fatehabad, Katihar and Karna. Now the project that is in place, that is being worked in collaboration with Niti Aayog and FAO. This is again very important. Make sure you take a note of this. Important for the mains. You can use this as a fodder point, right? So Niti Aayog and FAO in 2019 has collaborated to explore the way that how can the paddy straw can be converted into the energy format with ex situ possibilities and even using the rice straw to competent in situ programs. The technical consultation with the private sector. So this is a collaboration, a triple P model with the FAO to develop a model where the residue supply chain in Punjab that can collect, store and finalize the rice straw from other protective service areas specifically to production of the renewable energy. So Niti Aayog is working since 2019 and a result is evident from the fact that one plant is already established in Punjab. Now this will reduce the greenhouse gases emissions by about 9.7 million ton of CO2 and about 66,000 ton of the particulate matter. Now, assessment of energy technologies की अगर बात करें, how things are working, a techno-economic assessment of energy technology suggested that rice straw can be cost-effective for producing the compressed biogas and pellets. Pellets can be used in the thermal power plant as a substitute for the coal and CBG as a transportation fuel. So this is the potential use in future. And with 30% of the rice straw produced in Punjab, 5% of the compressed biogas, production targets set for the Government of India scheme, that is sustainable alternative towards affordable transportation, also known as STAT-AT, right? This can be made. So these are the targets that Government of India has envisioned. And in the longer run, this is going to be the huge success and also call for a decrease in the decremental impact on the environmental and air pollutions. It could also increase the local entrepreneurship and increase the farm income and reduce the burning of the rice straw. Now, talking about the advantages, the paddy straw from 1 acre of the crop can yield an output worth of 17,000. In addition, they can have more than 30% of the main output of the grain. This initiative is ideal example of wealth from waste approach in a circular economy. The fragmentation organic manure from the plant can be used to composite and replenish the soil heavy depleted of the organic matter and reduce the dependence on the chemical fertilizer. Definitely, the dependence on chemical fertilization need to be reduced. For this, the government has come up with important fertilizer named as Bharat, right? Government ने भारत एक manure fertilizer use की जो uniform होगी across the country. Now this plant will also provide opportunity and economic opportunities and to the rural youth. उनको employment मिलेगी and they will call for increase of the livelihood opportunity as well. And this initiative will replenish the scalability and replicability of the plant across the country, which can be a game changer for the rural economy. It started in Punjab, it can go further for many other states like Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, and all the states they have a problem, specifically in South India also. So this can be a game changer for Pan India, right? So this is how the advantages and conclusion can be concluded for this particular editorial. Now moving to the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C, and for the second question, the correct option is C again. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको बताना है PM आत्मनिर्भर स्वस्थ भारत स्कीम के बारे में. This scheme aims to provide healthcare insurance to people of the BPL category, and recently India announced this was announced in the Union Budget 2021 and 2022. That is last year, right? Choose the correct option among the correct. Now, the other important question, that is the National Hydrogen Energy Mission. This mission capitalized hydrogen for the cleanest alternative fuel as an option. It focuses on generation of hydrogen from the green power resources. So do check it out for the correct option. This type of question might be relevant for the upcoming prelims examination. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.